Hey, yo, happy Monday. Got a great one for you right now. When the narc's main supply pushes him to go cheat for her benefit. What am I talking about? I'm talking about when the narc's main supply pushes him on purpose, intentionally, to go out there and hunt for new supply so that they can sift from that new supply and bring it back to headquarters, right? For the both of them to enjoy. All right, here's another Bible banger for you. All right, we're going to talk about Abraham, Sarah, and Hagar, and how even though I don't consider Abraham to be a narcissist, but his story and the lesson within his story will definitely suffice to explain what I just mentioned, which is how the narc's main supply pushes him to go cheat to gain sustenance from the new supply to bring back to headquarters. All right. Now we all know that in the Bible, okay, God promised Abraham that he was going to be, I think it was like 81 or something. Maybe he was older, but I think it was like 81. He promised Abraham, like, you're gonna have a kid. And he's like, man, my wife Sarah can't have children. Like, they laughed at this. Like, how is this going to be legit, God? You know what I'm saying? So he goes and tells his wife Sarah, hey, and she's like in her 90s or something. He's like, we're gonna have a kid, God told me. And she laughed, right? Which was already a punishment, right? Like basically, like, I can't do that, I'm old. That was not supposed to be her reaction. Her reaction was supposed to be to trust God, right? But instead, she takes matters into her own hands, much like that narcissist main supply, the back burner supply, the headquarters supply, the supply that they have that withstands the test of time, which is like in the background to all of their relationships. That supply, the one that they can always come back to no matter what, that supply. That's the supply I'm talking about, okay? Let's trade in Sarah for that supply. So Sarah is the main supply. Sarah is Abraham's wife, right? And she is like, hey, I don't believe that I can produce the things that I feel like we need. So I'm going to need you to go out there, Abraham, and I'm going to need you to have sex with this younger little thing that's my servant, Hagar, and you knock her up, and then you take her baby from her and you bring it to me because I need a baby. And so since I don't believe God, I don't believe that provision is coming, I want you to go out there and get it for me, for us, right? Go out there and have sex with her, and you get me a baby from out of her, okay? So Abraham's like, all right, you know what I mean? He's a man. You know, anything with a penis is stupid. No offense if you have one, but when it comes to sticking that penis inside of a hole, more than likely you'll be swayed, okay? So he did. He's like, all right, but my wife told me to. The narc's like, all right, but my main supply told me go out here and get you something new and steal from them or siphon what you can from them and bring it back here to the headquarters where we at, right? Because we always gonna be a thing, right? That's how that old back burner supply is thinking about that narc. Like, he ain't never gonna leave me, and he knows I'm never gonna leave him. So let him go out there in the field and bring back the goodies, the good, right? But what happens, just much like in Sarah and Abraham's situation and Hagar's situation, is Hagar was the new unsuspecting new supply, right? And Sarah sent Abraham out to go get that, right? So Abraham hit that up. Abraham sprayed the walls, bruh. In repetition. It takes more than one time to have sex to get pregnant. Maybe not for everybody, but I'm pretty sure he was in there like quite frequently, right? And in multiple and numerous occasions. Finally, Hagar gets pregnant and bears a son, right? And then her son ended up teasing, and then Sarah finally gets pregnant, right? So she didn't even really need Hagar to do that had she waited on God, but she didn't wait on God. So now you have what? You have this man split between two households within one household. What do you have when the narc's main supply sends him out to go fishing so that they can have, right? you have him split between two households. Why and how did this happen? It happens because when you think about it, Sarah was old as fuck. Okay? She was old as fuck. Beyond childbearing years at the max. I mean, she was like in her 90s or something, right? You done sent this man out to go and have sex with this younger person, okay? Forget the fact that she was younger. Even if they were the same age, she was new. You understand? You were so greedy, just like that back burner supply, that headquarters supply is so greedy that they don't even think. You just sent your narc out to dig in some new-new's guts. Right? Abraham got that new. It doesn't matter with Hagar, how she wrote it, how she had sex with him. Either way, Hagar was new, baby. She was something different. And it took repeated sexual encounters with her to gain what it was that Sarah sent him out to retrieve, which is a child. Okay? So by the time that child was literally conceived, okay, Abraham had established a relationship, more than likely one that he probably liked. Okay? More than likely Hagar probably liked it too. Even though she knew in her case that she was that new supply. Because she was a servant. She was doing her job. Okay? So Abraham developed feels for Hagar. Because not only was she new, she laid it down different from Sarah. She laid it down better than Sarah because she could actually conceive, right? So that meant something. Think about how long and far apart their ages were. Sarah's like in her 90s. Hagar still gets a period, a menstrual cycle. You know what I'm saying? So Hagar did for Abraham what Sarah could not do. You know what I'm saying? Which was conceive a child. Okay, and conceived a boy at that, okay, named Ishmael. All right, either way, the Bible never said that Hagar was older. So Sarah was so greedy, she pushed her man into some new. And we all know what that new about to do. New about to jump on it. New about to do a backflip on the stick, right? New about to do cartwheels and land on the joystick. Meanwhile, Sarah's in there all wrapped up, chilling, cooking the same old dinner or whatever the fuck. Not thinking that Abraham, and in this case we're going to say the narc, right, might actually enjoy where she sent him out to go and get the food. He stayed a little too long at dinner, didn't he? Right. Let me read some more of the... I got some notes. Right. So, then they went... Okay. Right. So then, what did Sarah do? Sarah did what any of the back burner headquarters supplies do. They all do it. Okay. There's always one waiting in the wings all the time. What do they do after they push him out there to go get some new? And the new turns out to be real good, right? Then they want to get rid of the new. Sarah wanted to get rid of Hagar out of jealousy because Abraham didn't really mind sliding in that thing. He quite enjoyed it. Yeah, thoroughly. Okay? He quite enjoyed that new. Alright? He went there, you know what I'm saying, to get him some Gordon Ramsay instead of coming back home to that same Long John Silver's ass fish sandwich that's dried out. So that's what happens when the narcissist is pushed by their main supply to go and find something new and fresh to bring back to them. They don't bring it back to them the same. They do come back because narcissists don't just throw away supply. Supply has to go on contact in order for them to completely disassociate with supply. But what happens is, much like Sarah, they make a mistake getting too cocky, thinking that their spot is irreplaceable, thinking that their spot is so secure that that Nunu will never upstage them, even by accident, even unintentionally, right? And so, much like Sarah was surprised and sidetracked by her own bullshit, her own ego drove her to push her man into some straight up dankily diddly dankadocious new Willy Wonka word, the diddly dankadocious bar. That diddly dankadocious bar right there, that new snatched it up. And then she want to kick Hagar and the boy out. But that wasn't really fair, right? Because you sent him to go get snacks. And he became one. So that's what happens, honey. That plan backfired. Because that narc became attached to that new. You know what I'm saying? Instead of the voodoo that you thought that you do. It didn't work out so much. Luckily for Sarah, God was like, listen to your wife or whatever. But if we want to really wrap this up in a different way, separate from me talking about narcs, if a man is supposed to lead the household, if a man is supposed to lead a woman, then the reason why that was allowed to happen to Abraham, in my opinion, is he was supposed to lead his wife in a positive direction. He didn't, because he let his dick lead him where it led him, right? And it led it into Hagar's tent. What he really should have said is, no, Sarah, you need to wait on the Lord. I'm not about to do that Bama shit. Go sit down somewhere. But he didn't say that. He was like, all right then. And he went and popped his peen into some mean new. Right? And then we had a whole ass problem. So anyway, that happens a lot, you guys. A lot of times you guys were the new supply. And a lot of times, unknowingly, you didn't even realize that narc had a main supply that pushed him into finding you. And he got caught up. Just like a like a fish. Bloop, 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 bloop. Right into some pom-pom. Anyway, keep the kitty gorgeous. I ain't hating on you. I know I'm keeping mine gorgeous. And I love y'all. But I thought that was interesting. I was like, that sounds a lot like Hagar, Sarah, and Abraham. When the narc's main supply pushes them into some new for greed and clout and ends up out. All right, love you. Bye.